All right, picking up from where we left off. To insert a header, simply go to Insert Header. You're going to want to put your title of your paper in first. If you're using Google Docs, unfortunately, you can't do a running header um, at the beginning and then a different header on the different pages. If you use Word, you can use the function that says first page different in the settings. So look, if I get rid of the running header, it changes on every single page. And I'm just going to undo that. The other thing you want to make sure you do first is put your title in and then your page numbers. You're going to need to tab them over because otherwise they'll be right and joined next to it. And this will copy over to the other pages. For those of you unfamiliar with APA formatting, the first page has your title, your name, and then the college. The second page is a abstract, which is a paragraph long, no more than 120 words. And as it says here, make sure that you type the numbers as numerals, but not as in Word format. To make sure that the spacing's right, you can insert a page break, and that is under insert. So we can insert page break. So after the abstract comes the paper itself. You will post the title of the paper centered again. You'll start with your introduction. Make sure it's in Times New Roman font. Double spaced, paragraphs indented, 5 to 7 spaces. Page number should appear 1 inch from the right side of the edge on each page. Paragraphs should not include any extra returns, so you don't need to, space it out something obnoxiously long. And it says in here, page numbering will have to be done manually for each page since there's no page number in Google Docs of the template creation. This is not the case, as you can see from the insert. You can do the page number right here. This will give a quick overview on headings, and then this section shows you how to do the reference section. It's already been formatted for you here. Just to show, so if you're using a book, it's author, editor, the publication date, meaning the year, book title, place of publication, publisher. If you go to the infamous OWL website, it gives a list of how to do just about every reference under the sun, and it gives you the format for one to multiple authors, and then articles, periodicals, books, other print sources, electronic sources. So anything you would want to cite, you can find the format here. It also talks about in-text citations. Let me go to the author section. So if you mention the author in a sentence, you just put the year of the publication. If you do not mention the author in the sentence, at the end of the sentence, you're going to want to put the author's last name followed by a comma and then the year of publication. Okay. And then if you, this also covers indirect sources, electronic sources. Let's also make sure that you go to quotations as well. Going back to the in-text citation page again, for short quotations, if you're citing the author in the text, again, last name, parentheses, space in between, the date of publication, meaning the year, quote, okay, no period at the end, and then a parentheses, P, period, space, page number, then your period to close it on off. Okay. And if you have Any questions on that, please let me know. Um, for the first go around, I'm not going to be a stickler particularly on um, absolute precise formatting, but I want you to attempt it so I can correct it within your writing. And this is the content paper that I'm talking about. Okay. Um, so again, you can use the APA model. Appendices are after the references as well. One appendix per page. So you can use this template so long as you um, make a copy for yourself in your own documents. Okay, I'm going to close this out. Go back into the resource page. Um, so one last thing that I want to show you before we close it out is the first couple of pages of the tips for completing tasks in EDC 574. And this was not um, created by me, it was created by the last course instructor, but I thought it was a pretty great resource, and I wanted to make sure you had a copy of it as well. I'm only going to go through the first couple pages because that's all that applies to you. And as we go further into the semester and as it becomes more relevant, I'll go through each of these items as they apply, but feel free to go through it as you see fit. All right, it's got a table of contents for a reference. The first main page talks about different ways to challenges that you may have and potential workarounds. If you see Dr. Elaine Silvanjanti, that's just swap that out for me. Any questions on this page, please let me know. So guidelines for selecting your topic. I've already approved most, if not all, of your topics. I've reached out to those I was a little bit concerned about. But again, if for some reason you want to change and you're not finding much research on your topic that you've chosen for Wednesday's session, this is a good place to go back and kind of start from scratch and you know, kind of start all over again. Again, start with broad topics, which most of you have done. You can scan abstracts in your topic area so you can start to think about narrowing. And then Dr. Majanti also provided a list of topic areas that you might want to explore in case you get stuck or don't have one as of right now. Now, what some of you may find is that your topic is way too broad and you need to refine your topic a little bit in order to have a paper that's more manageable. You want to put some sort of limit on your paper, otherwise you'll stress yourself. So for example, this first student started with urban and science education. You want to ask yourself, what could I want to know about science and urban education? Is it effective strategies in urban high schools? What about middle schools? Maybe it's not urban. Maybe it's non-white student achievement. Maybe it's a strategy to increase engagement. Maybe that's what I think is the root. Effective strategies to improve science achievement in low performing students in urban high schools. Well, there might be some students in urban high schools who are, you know, be doing quite well. Just because they're in an urban school doesn't mean that they're struggling. Try to figure out who your demographics are and then aspects of the topic. Okay? Great strategies in case you're finding it really broad and almost overwhelmed by the topic. Okay? So, guidelines on searching for and evaluating literature. Okay? So, number one, you're going to cover on Wednesday's class. Now, some keywords will be provided, but you may want to take some time getting to number two to brainstorm some keywords that maybe you hadn't thought of going into it. Examine the reference list from each source of literature that you find seminal words. With the each search, you're going to find a list of related terms to the article. You may discover some search terms that you hadn't thought of earlier. A search database for prominent individuals, so not just about the topic, but who are the key researchers? Maybe this person's written 2 or 3 pieces on your topic and not just the article that you're finding. There might be specific journals in your topic area, and then you can look for information posted by educational association. Um, the other thing, if you start with the databases, you can also use a Google Scholar search to find what you need. And what you may find too is that certain combinations, like using and or the Boolean search methods, will yield you more specific results sometimes, and will yield you very few results. But these types of search strategies will be discussed with Mona on Wednesday. Okay. And then again, you want to locate about 15 to 20 reports of research and articles and books. Don't be limited to just journals. Books might be your best resource as well. And then maintain a written record of how you conducted your literature search, not just for your current project, which it will help, but also for future projects. Here are just some basic tips on how to research and how to conduct a literature review. One thing that I do want to go over is guidelines for taking notes, and also the assignment, which is a chart of the articles in table form. An example of the chart is on page 12, which talks about the author, the title, the type of research, the methods used, and then the results. Again, this is not exactly what it should look like, but it's just an example of what I'm looking for when you create your own. So let's go back up to guidelines for taking notes. Okay. Make sure you're using first surnames for each piece of literature, or codes to identify sources if you're running out of space. You're going to build some basic table. I suggest using the table like this with the author, title, research methods, results, so that we only have to do it once. Okay. You can print out the article and make notes, but in this digital era, it might be better just to use a PDF. While you're taking notes, you might want to use color coding. Unfortunately, with the PDF editor, I'm only aware of how to make yellow colored notes, but if you have an iPad, there's a annotating software that I'd be happy to show you that allows you to highlight in different colors. Pay attention to definitions, take notes and mark pages for later reference. Reading and making notes on abstract is only misleading. You could draw incorrect conclusions. That's one big mistake that I find that a lot of students make, is that they only read the abstract and end up missing the broader conclusions and more detailed information that you need to successfully complete this literature review. And tip number 7 says make notes on how other writers organize their literature review. As you're reading, this should be an opportunity for you to take notes and just kind of think about how they've structured their literature review so that you can create your own. In a couple weeks, the assignment chart of the articles are due. This will be due the week of 10/18, not the 10/15. This was from last year. Again, you want to make sure that it's in APA format, visual display. We'll set some time in the discussion forums for you to do a peer review to examine some trends. Peer group members will return their marked copy to the author to make sure the editor's name is on the front page. This will give you some of a springboard, so that way we can do the peer reviews of the introduction the following week. Any questions, be sure to email me. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.